I'm going to tell you one thing, Ty. Something's not
Okay.
right. And let me tell you why. Give me 1 second.
Oh no, guys, I'm concerned for what's going to happen here. Let's see what he's pulling out of the closet. Alyssa and Cassie, I'm very happy that I am part. I got a fan
It's
base now.
NFL postseason, baby, and I'm ready
Dude,
and dressed for the occasion. Now, Ty, you get to pick. Do you want to start off AFC or NFC?
we'll start off AFC.
Okay,
The
we'll do
first two
AFC
games are
real quick.
AFC, so we'll do that.
Okay, well, then we'll do that. As the weekend started off, AFC, the Chargers and the Texans had a bout, and the Chargers ended up losing 32-12. Not a bad season for old Harbaugh, though. I will give him props. He had a great season, at least making a playoff with the Chargers, so I will give him props for that. Nobody thought he would be over 500 in his first year, and he was. The Ravens ended up beating the Steelers, division rival, 28-14 for their third bout of the year. And the Broncos fall short to the Bills, 31-7, as one rookie quarterback comes short for the weekend. So is there any takeaways you want to kind of go over for the AFC, Ty? Do you have anything you want to kind of touch? We can discuss, and then we'll go on to the NFC and wrap that up.
I'll just roll through the three quick. Texans caught me off guard. I seriously, I really didn't expect that. They've just been kind of weird to watch this year. I was hyped up on them, coming into the year, but they've just been, it feels like at times they've been really good, and at times they've been just not so great. But they played really really well against LA. That was a great ball game they played. Yeah, like you said, props to Harbaugh. Everybody thought might not have as much success. He definitely I think overperformed this year. Um, but he's just a great coach, and honestly, that's kind of what the Chargers needed. And some people thought that he overperformed. I thought that he did, kind of a little bit what was expected. Some people just thought I maybe just didn't realize the talent that is on that roster, and all they needed was a good coach, to kind of carry them to a good place. They'll definitely build on this year, and they'll be right back. They'll be right back in the mix next year in the AFC as well. Ravens Steelers saw that coming. Steelers just don't have enough offensive firepower. Ravens are hot right now. That'll be we'll preview it next or pretty soon, but Ravens Bills will be a one heck of a matchup this weekend. And then you had Bills Broncos. I thought this game was going to be closer. I thought the test for Josh Allen would be, Broncos defense has been great, and the Broncos pass rush has been great this year. They're one of the best defenses in the league. I thought that would be a test and a challenge for Josh Allen, but absolutely, Buffalo kind of just manhandled them. It was close early, and then they just kind of ran away with it. Buffalo with home field advantage is a really good team, obviously. But Buffalo in general is just a really good football team. Excited for Bills Ravens. Been high on Josh Allen all year, so excited for him maybe to flourish in this game. But yeah, I did not expect a blowout that game. I just thought it would be closer. I always root for Sean Payton. I know some Saints fans might not, but when he's your coach your entire life, it's hard not to root for him. And I like Bo Nix, so I like rooting for him too. So and I got a buddy that's a Broncos fan as well, so I was kind of rooting for them a little bit. But I thought they would keep it close. They didn't, but it's same with Harbaugh and the Chargers. I think they'll build on this year. I think they'll get better. If that defense is going to get better too, which is scary, and just maybe need one or two more offensive weapons, and that'll be a good team to contend with. The Chiefs, who win the division every year in the AFC West.
I'm glad you brought those scores up. I mean, I brought them up, but the blowout, I'm glad you touched on it. Because if you look at it, there wasn't a single team that won by less than 2 possessions.
Yeah.
And I say this because similar to the postseason in college football, the expanded playoffs as we've seen, we have now noticed a dramatic polarization between really good teams and good teams that maybe shouldn't have made the playoffs in college football terms. I mean, obviously, NFL teams, they made the playoffs, they earned their spot. But I want to highlight that polarization between the teams. You have the Texans, the Ravens, and the Bills pretty much blowing out each of their respective teams. I mean, great teams versus good teams, right? When the Bills came up this year, we're like, okay, well, is Josh Allen going to be the same without Stephon Diggs? He arguably had his best season this year without Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
Bills
No,
were
no, it is. This
no,
is
but
his best
yeah, it
season.
is his best season. I
Yeah.
say arguably because I don't want to be super controversial
Yeah. Oh, I
unless it's
understand, but yeah.
unless it's like
Yeah.
I want to talk about something. But
Mm-hmm.
the Bills, Ravens, next matchup, the Ravens go to Buffalo. Texans, Chiefs. Texans goes to Kansas City. Ty, what are we looking at these two games? Who prevails? And do we potentially see another Chiefs-Bills AFC matchup?
Make sure also, I want to hear what you think after this because you hadn't even told me pre-show. So I don't even know who you think's going to win. So I do want to hear it after. All right, all right. I do want to hear it though after I discuss it. I think the Chiefs are going to win this weekend. You know, here I am doubting the Texans again. I just think, quite simply, I just think the Chiefs are a better football team than the Texans. That's just kind of how it is. You know, the Chiefs have been, you know, they've had their issues. The was it? I believe they played on Christmas Day. Uh, yeah, I think they did play on Christmas Day. It was either Christmas Day or Christmas Eve that the Chiefs and Texans play. It's where Tank Dell got hurt. That was really unfortunate. Wish the best for him, but you know, and that was I believe that was a pretty good game too. You know, and that was at Arrowhead or whatever they call it now. I'll always call it Arrowhead, but that was a good, you know, it was a good ball game and a good test for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have had problems, you know, turning the ball over this year. They have a good defense to kind of back them up on that. You know, I think it's a. I like the offensive attack from C.J. Stroud and the Texans. They still have some weapons even without Tank Dell. I think it can. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I really don't. I think the Chiefs are talented, and I just don't see them getting blown out. And even if they made it to the AFC title game, or the Chiefs did, if they made it to the AFC title, or if they made it to the Super Bowl, I wouldn't assume, or I wouldn't think that they would get blown out anyway. They're just too good of a team, and they're too well coached. So I think the Texans are going to fall short this weekend. If the Texans prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. I mean, they proved me wrong last week, but I just think the Chiefs are just too good for the Texans. You know, when they play, go to the Bills Ravens game of the freaking century, man. I think it should be great. This is what is, you know, everybody's hyped up about this game. Uh, I think I've been riding with the Bills and Josh Allen all year, so I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say the Bills win the ball game. I think it'll be a close ball game. These are two quarterbacks that are 1A, 1B in the MVP. If you could split the trophy in half and give it to two people, it would go to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They've both had their best years this year. I think Josh Allen. I just think Josh Allen plays the better game. It'll be interesting to see how the Bills defend I mean, these are both really good offenses. Obviously, we know that. It'll be interesting to see how the defenses play. You know, the Ravens have had some struggles this year. The Ravens' offense is insanely potent. So, it'll be interesting to see how the Bills kind of go and combat against that. Uh, you know, I think it'll be a great game, but I'm going to stick with what I've said all year, and I think the Bills are going to win this ball game and move on to the AFC title.
Now, we've seen teams that have fallen short to the Baltimore Ravens be because of their dangerous rushing duo, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry running the ball opens up a lot of more opportunity for Lamar Jackson to be a better passer, and he has been this season. Arguably, this is probably, to me, his best quarterback season in his career. Wouldn't you agree, Ty?
Yeah, there's no argue. Yeah, it's statistically it's his best.
And that's really because of Derrick Henry. Now, if you look at Buffalo's defense and yards per carry against the run, they are almost dead middle in the league. Now, I was hoping for Buffalo to be a little bit higher to kind of brush out my concerns about them versus the Ravens. I say this because, to me, a Chiefs and Bills rematch in the AFC Championship is almost inevitable. And I talk a lot about the NFL script for the show, right? Could this possibly be the script? A Bills-Chiefs rematch? I think so. Do the Bills finally get the upper hand on the Chiefs? We'll have to wait till next week when we do those predictions. But right now, I'm saying for the divisional round, we'll have the Chiefs and the Bills. It'll be in Arrowhead Stadium because Chiefs are the number 1 seed. And we'll see what happens then. That's my AFC take. But let's go to the NFC tie real quick so we can get to the title of the show. The Packers fall 27-10 to the Eagles. 22-10, excuse me, I wrote that wrong. Commanders win in an upset fashion, 23-20 over the Bucks. And the Rams overcome the Vikings 27-9. Now, I know we can touch on the games or whatever, but I really want to talk about the Commanders. And I'm going to give you a couple facts for this Commanders game. They have not won a playoff game since 2005, which they had lost to the Seahawks 20-10 in the divisional round. But to get there, their last win, they beat none other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round 17-10 to win that game. Now, the Commanders, in the last 5 of their games, they've won the last 5. And to win the last 5, it has been decided by the final play of scrimmage every single time. So their last 4 regular season games was decided by the last play of scrimmage. And then this past one with the Bucks, it's the last play of scrimmage to win the game. Now, Daniels, I want to talk about Jayden Daniels. Because we know we're big Jayden Daniels guys here on the breakdown. Nate Nesson can attest to us. Yes, I do like Jayden Daniels. Now, he went 24 for 35 on the night, 68.6% completion percentage. He had 268 yards passing and 2 touchdowns in the air. People were saying, hey, everybody's figured out Jayden Daniels. Once they get to the playoffs, everybody's going to have Jayden Daniels figured out, man. Jayden Daniels ain't going to be the guy he was the first 5 weeks of the NFL season. Ain't nobody going to fall for this Jayden Daniels thing again. Looks like somebody has, Ty. 23-20. Speak to me about the game. What you see in that game is Jayden Daniels, I think, is our offensive rookie of the year. Made all rookie team. Talk to me, Ty.
Yeah, another great performance by him. And you mentioned the passing yards, but he also, now he didn't have as much, but he also led the team in rushing yards as well. That was one, big thing in the game is not really any team could run the ball effectively. It was mostly, passing. Tampa had, a little bit more of a struggle driving the ball down the field. Only ended up, I believe, like 280 total yards. I think Washington had like around 360 or something like that. Jayden Daniels played great again. He is a great quarterback. I think he's going to be good for many years. I agree with you. I think he should be Offensive Rookie of the Year. but I'm happy to see him playing well. Happy to see Terry McLaurin flourish with a franchise quarterback. That's what he's been missing his entire career. He's still produced regardless of not having a franchise quarterback. Now he has one, and he's played better than he ever has before. We'll see how they fare against. They play Philly, right, Connor? I believe it's Philly, right?
We'll
You have
get to
check
that.
me on
It's
that
not
one.
Philly, but we will get to that.
It's not Philly. Okay,
No.
that's right. That's right. That's okay. Well, yeah, we'll get to that then. But we'll see how they play next week. But yeah, I'm very happy for him. Very happy for Commander. Yeah, they did get their injured defensive players back. So they're a well-oiled machine. There'll be a tough out. I expected this to be more of a high-scoring game. I was wrong, but I did expect this game to be close, and it definitely was. Tampa is a good team. The fumbled handoff turned out to be big, and I know there's 12 minutes left in the game, but Washington struggled in the red zone all night long, and they went 2 for 5 in the red zone, and then you just gift them the ball right inside the red zone. They don't even have to work for it. Honestly, just you made it easy for them. That ended up giving them a lead there by one score. Tampa ended up tying it, but then they drive down the field or they get down there. Washington kicks a field goal, wins the game. Yeah, so the fumble was huge. I thought, and I don't like the Bucs, right? And I've just never really liked Baker Mayfield. But I can accept and I can admit defeat and admit when I'm wrong. He's definitely a lot better than he was with Cleveland. I think it's just because he's in a right situation. He's played great this year. He had a great year. Had a couple of I think he was tied for second in the league with an interception, so he'll have to cut that down. But I thought he played fantastic this year. Mike Evans played fantastic this year. It's a shame Chris Godwin couldn't play some more. That duo, when they're healthy, is one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. But yeah, they had a great year. Bucks did, but yeah, Washington, good football team. They're going to be a sight to see next week in the divisional round.
Let's talk about the divisional round. Who do the Commanders play in the divisional round? And it's none other than America's team, the Detroit Lions. The Fighting Dan Campbells.
Yeah. That was on me. I messed that one up. My bad.
That's fine. They get a bye, so they weren't playing this week, so it's kind of hard to not remember them.
It's weird how they match up.
It's easy to forget.
Weird how they match up.
Yes, and now the Rams also go to Philly after they beat the Vikings. So, Ty, let's talk about our NFC divisional round briefly, and we'll go into the next segment.
So we got Rams, Philly, Washington, and Detroit. I'll start Rams, Philly. Philly is a good football team. I mean, they are really good. And the Rams very much surprised me. I didn't think they were gonna beat the Vikings like that. Number one, but I also didn't think that I didn't think that I didn't think they would beat them in general. So that was just surprising to me. I just think it's too tough of an environment for the Rams. I think the Eagles' talent is just too much on both sides of the ball. They dominated Green Bay from start to finish. So I think Philly takes that one. I'm not going to say rather easily. I think this could be a one score, maybe two score, like a 10-point game when it's all said and done. I think the Rams will hang around, but Philly will just be too much for them. Moving on to Washington and Detroit. I am big on Detroit this year. I know we just talked about how Washington is a good football team. I think Washington is going to keep it close. I think Detroit, is just too much for them. Yeah, I mean they're the one thing that'll be interesting. And that's a good point right there. That Philly hitting 100%. There's a good point, but Saquon is just Saquon. But one thing that's interesting, Detroit has struggled on defense on the defensive side of the ball, and it's been because they've been banged up. Maybe the bye week helped them, kind of get some guys, healthy, and and maybe they'll be able to get on the field. But with a good Washington offense and a really talented young quarterback, it'll be interesting to see how how Detroit stacks up against Washington's offense. Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, really, really fun duo to watch. We'll see how that adds up. I think Detroit is going to honestly. Washington's got a good defense, but I think Detroit can just score with anybody. That's just me. I think their offense is way too talented, and I think they can score with anybody. It'll just be a matter of if Washington can, or excuse me, if Detroit can stop Washington's offense, then it could be all Detroit, all ball game. But if Detroit allows Washington to score and allows them to hang on, hey, they've been a sneaky team all year, and they've won in close games. You mentioned the last score stuff, last play of the game stuff. That if they allow them to hang around long enough, Washington is dangerous when it's clutch time. But I think Detroit's going to win the ball game.
It's that clutch factor in Jayden Daniels' veins where he's going to go on and just win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's not going to be enough to beat Detroit, though. Detroit will win this. I think everybody wants to see Detroit in the Super Bowl, so the NFL is going to do everything in their power to make it happen, Ty.
In this script thing, man. You got to stop with the script thing.
We're going to see a Detroit Philly Super Bowl. The Rams will. I just can't see the Rams going to
Detroit Philly. You mean NFC title game?
I meant NFC title game. That's what I meant. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to give it to Detroit and Philly. Those are going to be my two picks. I think you pretty much said everything I want to. Saquon's going to Saquon. Detroit's out with probably their best defensive player, Aiden Hutchinson, but they've done very well to fill in the holes that he has left in his injury. You have a casted Alex Anzalone back out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Detroit plays. And I if they allow the Commanders to hang, it might be a Commander ball game, but Detroit's going to win this game. They'll go to NFC Championship, and we'll see what happens then.